going to do sort of an overview of how PrayerTech works and what our thinking behind it was. We're going to then look at the back end, which is the administrator's site for the PrayerTech, and then we'll look at the student app, and then we can talk about how it could work in your classroom and what other questions you have.
Okay.
So with that in mind, so we considered PrayerTech an online prayer program. It's designed to help students master the mechanics of prayer anywhere, anytime they are. That is that we consider the mechanics being the practice reading or practice reciting the prayer, the work on language elements such as roots and vocabulary words and prefixes and suffixes, so that the idea is that ultimately their goal is to master prayer or to master a general understanding of what the prayers mean.
Okay.
We wanted to make the program flexible. We wanted to allow you to take your class to spend less time on mechanics and more time on Kavanah. So whether you use PrayerTech as part of your classroom or you use it as part of homework or use it in a language lab, we wanted to allow you to take some of this extra practice out of your classroom and allow you to have your classes do experiential activities or work on the Kavanah of the prayer in a different kind of way. So make those classrooms more exciting and less mechanical. Okay. So when we created PrayerTech the first time with our old crew of programmers, it wasn't quite as fun, but now it's colorful and it's fun. We don't consider these games, we consider these activities or exercises, so they're not going to, we're not going to have things flying around the screen trying to grab them and put them together. These really are things working on true skills. And we wanted to enhance students' fluency, so each prayer has an opportunity to practice, to make a recording of students recording the prayer for them by themselves, and then they can listen to it. If they're happy with it, they can send it off to their teachers, and it gives teachers an opportunity to listen to each student recitation or reading without having to do it in a big classroom where everyone's a little bit nervous and a little bit crazy. We wanted to allow you as an educator to have the control on content and pacing, and Alan's going to talk you through the back part of this. We'll talk about how you set up a curriculum that works for your school and your needs and for your groups of students, but it gives you all the control. We wanted to work on all kinds of skills, not just visual, so we do oral and oral activities that will allow students to use those muscles as well. So not a good example, but assume that all these words would be something that looks like seam, maybe shem or something as sham, and they would have to hit a button and listen to it and distinguish between one and the other, making sure the kids can see and understand how they're hearing things and seeing things. We wanted to allow you to teach your movements liturgy. This happens to be the Shalom Rav from the Reconstructionist movement. We wanted to make sure that you didn't have to jump over everybody else's liturgy while you're working through the prayer. And we're now available on Windows and Mac computers, Android and iPad tablets, and phones with larger displays. And I'm probably going to say this wrong again, but Google is working on, has just announced a release of Chromebooks that should work with this material as well. So it should be flexible in all kinds of ways. Okay. So we wanted to make sure that everybody's involved. So it works for students, it works for administrators or educators. Teachers and parents also have a way to track their student or their children's progress, so they can also go on the back end and see how their children are doing. For the educator, we wanted to allow you to extend and enhance your prayer curriculum you're already using. You don't have to use Torah Ora. There are some advantages to using Torah Ora materials, but you don't have to use Torah Ora materials to fit PrayerTech into your school. We also wanted to allow you to set the curriculum for any group of students you have working. So if you have small groups, you can set it for small groups. If you have a student who comes in late in the year and you want to set up a special curriculum for them, you can do that, and it allows you to be as flexible as you want to get this material working. It also offers teachers a way to set and monitor the student use. You'll see there's a list of activities here. They don't have to do all of them. We would never expect even a textbook to do all of the exercises in a lesson. So it allows your teachers to evaluate the exercises and see which one works best for their needs, and to assign students, again, this recording portions of the prayer. That's something that I used to do when I was a teacher a million years ago, when I'd give my students, say, a cassette recorder and cassettes to make a recording of themselves. It always gave me an opportunity to hear each student individually without having the noise of the rest of the class, and being able to focus on what those issues are in terms of letters or sounds that they're not getting right. So we wanted to make sure you could do that here.
Mm-hmm.
For the student, we're teaching language elements because we think they're important. This exercise, you can see, is looking at root words. We're very big on root words and vocabulary and prefixes and suffixes and all of those things that help you distinguish and be able to sort of gather the understanding of prayer based on what you know about the language elements. And you'll see as we go through the student app how that works. So again, for the parents, it offers them an opportunity to work anywhere the child is. Because it works on all platforms now, including phones, you could set your child on the up in a chair in the dressing room at the mall and continue to work on exercises while mom is trying on a dress. I mean, we want to make it sure that you could use it anywhere and they could use it anywhere and feel like they could get involved in this. We also wanted to make sure that they could monitor their child's success, and there are a couple of ways, including getting on and seeing how their child is using the material. Also, they can receive recordings of their child's prayer readings, and that way they can have take part in this material. So there are two sections to PrayerTech. There's a student app, and there's also an administrator site. And I'm going to turn this over to Alan, who's going to talk you through the administrator site. Right, Alan?
Yep, I'm here.
He's here.
You're just going to give me the screen.
There you go. You're the presenter. Go for it.
You got it. Hi, David. Okay.
Hi.
As Jane said, there are two parts to PrayerTech. There's the student app, which runs on, basically every major platform now. But for you and your teachers, you're going to work through the website. And that's here at prayertech.net. And what you're going to do is, once you've created an account, and I think we created the account for you, is you're going to log in.
No, we didn't, actually.
We didn't. Okay. I don't know if Jane will or not. We'll show you how to do that then in a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Once you've logged into the account, this is the primary. Oops, I logged in as a teacher. Teachers only see.
Don't ever want to do that.
Yeah, let me try signing in. Jeff Jane.
It's the Jane at Aura.
There we are. Okay, this is the administrator site. Within the administrator, there are a number of items you can work on. And basically within it, you build curriculums that meet the needs of your school and your students. There is no predetermined pattern to what prayers are taught when. You create all of that information yourself. So the basics, basically to build out your site, you're going to just go right down this set of links. There are two options in options. One is, as Jane said, one of the things students are asked to do is record some reading of the prayer, which is automatically emailed to their teacher. You have the option here to also send it to usually a Gmail account or a Yahoo account. So you have a copy of that student recording. And since the emails all come in with the name of the prayer and the name of the student and the subject, you can always just search on a student's name and you'll have a complete history of everything that student has done in case you have a need to go back and do it. You don't need to turn this on, but as long as you're using a free email account someplace. And as I said, don't use your own email account unless you have a specific need where you actually want to. because it'll fill up a standard mailbox pretty fast. The other option we have is you can also email these out to a family member. Send a copy to the family so the parents can get involved with the process.
Okay.
Now the heart of PrayerTech is in the class curriculum. I'm just going to click on one. I'll use my demo. You give it an ID code, and that can be anything. The basics is you may create one for each grade to start with.
Okay.
And so you'll call this one the third grade curriculum, the fourth grade, fifth grade curriculum. And you're just going to scroll down and pick the prayers you want for that group of children. If you're in an individualized program or you have a student that needs remedial work, you may create separate curriculums for that student also. The number of curriculums you create is basically infinite. You can create as many as you need, and you'll notice that for every prayer where the movements have changed the liturgy, we have movement-specific versions of the prayer available to you. And we have a pretty complete library of prayers at this point for the Shabbat service. I have a few more coming out this summer. So that's the basic heart of, and the nice thing about curriculums this way, if you assign a fourth grade curriculum to one student or you assign it to 100 students, if you come in here and make a change to their curriculum card, they'll automatically see it when they log into PrayerTech. All this stuff is handled in real time. And we have some schools that are using PrayerTech and they don't want kids to see the entire school year. They put the stuff up that they want the kids to work on when they're working on it in class, so the kids only see 1 or 2 or 3 prayers at a given time, as opposed to the entire curriculum for the year. It's sort of up to you which way you want to do it, but that's why we created this way, to give you as much flexibility as possible.
Okay.
The second basic thing is you need to create your teachers. And I'll click on bugs. Teachers are real simple. You need their first name, their last name, their email address, and a password. And you'll have to give that information to all your teachers. They have their email attached, but they're going to need prayertech.net and the password that you assign to them so they can log in. The other thing here is administrator rights. Without administrator rights, when they log in, the only thing they're going to see are the students that are assigned to them. Once you give them admin rights, they can then go in and modify all of this information that we're going through now.
Okay.
You just hit an easy submit. Students are basically the same way. And one of the things we found out, we set up a 100-student school, and the easiest way to do this is take your class rosters, export them to an Excel spreadsheet, and input the data from there. We can also do this for you if you want us to. There's a Word doc, there's a PDF that you just need to fill out. It's 2 pages per class, essentially, and we'll do all the hard work for you. And you'll notice it's basically just first name, last name. As I said, one of the options you have is to send the recordings to a parent or family email address. There's room here for 2 of them, and you have an option here to either send that email address a copy of the recording or not send it a copy of the recording. So again, you can set up 2 parents. One may want to receive it, one may not. The primary one here is also used if the students try and recover their password. The one thing you should know about usernames, they do not require an email address, so you can use anything you want, but usernames are not unique to your school. So if you want to use Alan as a username, I'll tell you I've already used it. And you'll get an error message and you won't be able to. So what a lot of schools will do is they'll use the abbreviation for the congregation and put that in front of the student name. Password, some of the schools have been using 1Password for all their students. It's up to you if you want to do it that way to keep your life simple. You can definitely do that. And the one thing I forgot to talk to you about here in account settings, there's a school ID code that you create, and that's used primarily for your parents. One of the things your parents can do is they can also log into PrayerTech. When they log in, I'm going to show you what they'll see. They will see their children's information. And let me click on who's webinar sample. Click on this one. When a teacher logs in or a parent logs in for the kid, they're going to see this information. They'll see every prayer they've worked on. They'll see the name of the prayer, and if they hover over the prayer name, they'll find out exactly what we're doing with that prayer
Okay.
and what vocabulary we're working on. They'll get us some of the lessons, some of the activities have scores. Scoring is consistent for all the lessons that have scores. And they start with 100 points and they lose 5 points for every long answer. Students can go back into any exercise they want and improve their score. And one of the nice things about a lot of the exercises is they change every time the student logs in. So they can't memorize position to improve their score.
Okay.
We scramble the card deck each time they access the exercise. You'll find out how much time they spent on a prayer and if they've completed the activity. The other thing you'll find in students is the last time each student logged in. And that's just a heads up to you. If you know a student isn't logging in and hasn't logged in 3 weeks, you can very easily scan this list and get in contact with the parents and the kid and hopefully find out what's going on and give them some help to get them logged in. Now, one of the reasons we set this up this way, which is a little bit more work for you, we wanted to make this as simple as possible for students to log in, which is why we're not asking them to create their student accounts. If you let us set up the accounts or you do it, we just ultimately do a mail merge. We put the username for each student in there, the password, give them basic instructions of how to download the app, depending on what device they want to download it on, and they're off and running. They don't have to look for emails coming back at them and figure out what's going on. They don't have to fill out a form. There are no user codes for them to or license codes for them to input. It's all done by you. So
Okay.
we made it as absolutely as simple as possible for students. So once you've set up the school, there are 2 last tasks. The first one is to assign the curriculums to your teachers. I'll click on Bugs Bunny. Teachers can have multiple curriculums. You'll notice here that Bugs has two curriculums that Bugs is working with. He's working with. And then he hits
You
save.
can't do a gender, can you?
Yeah, Bugs usually is a he. You got to talk to Disney about that. I think Bugs is Disney, isn't it? No, Bugs Bunny is not.
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. So the one thing to know is teachers can have multiple curriculums that they work with. So if you have a teacher teaching two different classes, there can be a curriculum for each class.
Right. In our case, we have basically one teacher who's doing all the Hebrew, so it'll be easy.
Yep.
They'll just have access. Yep.
Okay. So once you've assigned your teachers to the curriculums, you have to assign your students to the curriculums. So in that case, we'll click on Bugs again. You'll notice Bugs has 2 curriculums. Click on a curriculum, right, and you'll get an alphabetical list of all the students in your school. You select the students that are assigned to that curriculum, and you hit save. And you're done. The one thing you should know is a student can have only 1 curriculum assigned to them. If you try to assign a second curriculum, it will be overwritten, and they'll only have 1 curriculum assigned to them. And that's for obvious. When we thought about doing it and allowing students to have multiple, it got too confusing for everybody. Some people couldn't figure out what prayer, the kid was getting what curriculum the kids were assigned to and where the prayers were coming from.
It just really means that if you have a student who's in an oddball situation, then create a curriculum for that child. And they can always change to another one at some point, but at least you're covering those bases.
Right. You can always change the curriculums that the students are assigned to. You can move them, as frequently as you need to. Mm-hmm. That's the basic. The last step in PrayerTech is when you've got everything going and you want to actually activate it for your students so they can start using it, you need to buy the licenses for it. And that's done in the licensing. And that's basically select the students you want to buy a license for, select the type of license you want, and you'll notice there are several options here. There's a 1-month trial subscription, a 2-month. The full year is $11.95. So if students are coming in for a month or they're leaving, in the middle of the year, or they're coming in January, you have options there. You're going to add them to the cart, and you're going to check out through a standard web cart, and you're done. Okay. You don't have to call us. You don't have to do anything.
Okay. So I'd be buying it per student.
It is per student, correct.
Okay. But is there a fee for having the school set up through?
No.
PrayerTech?
No.
Okay.
No, there,
No.
All right.
no, we'll do it. There are no additional,
Okay.
other than buying the student license, there are no fees involved.
Okay. All right.
The other thing you should know about the full year license, it's a full year, not a school year.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
you
Well, that
start your
would be
students off
good.
in November, it will go
Right.
through, it'll be again to
November.
November. So
Licenses
Right, okay.
start, they're not tied to any particular date, any particular candle. You buy a 12-month license, it's good for 12 months no matter when you buy it.
Okay. All right.
okay, have we overwhelmed you yet?
No, I'm following. I'm
Good.
following. You've answered a lot of my questions that I was thinking of as I went along. And so, and how often is this site updated? Is it pretty continuously?
With what
In
information?
terms of prayers?
In terms of activities or?
That's all real time. When the kids complete an activity, the site is updated.
Oh, no, I mean,
Oh, in
like
terms
for
of our
example,
okay.
well, yeah, for what you guys do, because like for example, I teach organic chemistry online, and I'm constantly updating my tests because I'm finding them online for sale. So I go in and change the exams every month or two.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, I mean, I don't think it needs to be updated. Something like PrayerTech, it's nobody's going to cheat. But I just wondered how often do you guys review it and?
We're constantly reviewing it and working on new exercises and new prayers, and we'll probably roll out. We've got probably in August, September, we're going to be rolling out about a half dozen new prayers for the site, and clean up a few things, and then we're going to start working on. As we've been getting feedback from schools that are using it, we start working on different types of exercises, and there's been a request for more basically reading drill for visual auditory practice. So we're working on some prayers to up that quotient within the environment right now.
Okay.
And in terms of prayers, adding prayers, we can do that at, it'll hit whatever next update it is, but if there's something that you see that we're missing, we could add it. So someone just asked me for Elu Devarim, which is not really a prayer. It's from the Gemara, I believe. But we're going to add it in anyway because it's something that people work on. So we're flexible enough to be able to add in things as we go.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
with that in mind, I'm just going to skip directly over to the student app. I'm going to take this back.
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty. Yes, I'm going to show my screen. And this is the student app. So I'm going to log in as my test student. Okay, simple username, password. When I set up students originally, when I was doing test students, and I set them all up with the same password. I just find it easier. And when I set up other people's school, I set them all up with the same password because it just makes it easier once a teacher can just say, okay, this is the password. You didn't have to really, worry about remembering it. And that way makes sure that you have it for everybody. But you don't have to do that. I just found we had a school that we set up when we were doing the initial test on this material, and they created passwords for each student, and then they changed them all. And it's just not worth the effort. It's like a something to completely blow your time situation. It's not worth the time. So we're going to log in, and you'll see, a student will see the prayers that are available. And I just added one to make sure something was there. But then we're going to click on Ve'ahavta, and that's what you get. Ve'ahavta actually has the most activities in it because it was our initial test material, but everybody has a series of lessons or exercises to do. In each case, we added an introduction. You don't have to use the introduction. It's something that we created for people who were either using the CDOR as their source material, their classroom source material, or who were not using one of our prayer materials, to sort of give a background of the prayer. It's not important. It was there for your use, and everything is basically there for you to choose how to use it. There are two practices. One is a straight practice, We've broken up lines in as short a unit as we possibly can. Each lesson has a set of directions, so students know exactly what they have to do. And if they hit the yellow arrow, I don't know if I can get this high, this deep enough, we have somebody reading the prayer. And it's broken up into the, wanted to do chanting, but the problem is that your nusach is different than somebody else's, and so trying to match everybody's nusach in this. They also have an opportunity to see what the prayer means by clicking on the so they have all of that, and we've broken it up into pages. So it allows you your teachers to say, okay, I want you to practice the first page, lines 1 to 5, or you can say, I want you to practice lines 1 through 10, or whatever unit you wanted to do. Again, this kind of goes back to what I used to do when I was teaching. I would work with my students for periods of time in class, maybe 10 to 15 minutes in class. Do a portion of the prayer, and we'd keep adding as we went along. So it gives them a chance to keep adding on that material. And we went all the way through. Well, we did V'ahavta, and then we added on the Mantis Kuru for those people who are using it. Again, you don't have to, but it's there. On the concentration exercise, now we got big sound. This was a way of looking at words and icons, I believe. Yes. So we use icons very heavily in our material, and when they do the update, there will be a dictionary for students to look at to see what the things mean. Well, maybe I'll change this one. So that the idea would be that you would look at, why didn't that work? That should have been a match. Okay, that's a problem. Never mind. But basically, it's a concentration game where they match things. In most cases, it was words from the same root. And I may just change that activity now that I've seen it's not working. Find Your Way is an activity that works on an element of the prayer. In this case, we're going to be looking at the words with ha ending. That means your, and they begin with the arrow. So here we go. Einecha, Elohecha. We don't want to go down to Imlocha. That would be incorrect. So let's go to Sha'arecha, Malchutcha, Yadecha. You basically get the idea. We're going to go across the thing. And again, every time you go in, it'll move back to a different place, so that you can't remember what the pattern was. You have to really look at the words. Again, the practice and record activity, again, it's another practice, same features. You can hear the sound and you can see the translation. But in this case, students can make a recording of themselves. They simply hit the record button. It'll start recording whatever they happen to be saying. When they're done, they hit the record button again. They can listen to it. And if I had the sound up, I would be able to hear myself talking. When they're ready, they can say, okay, I like the recording, I'm going to send it to my teacher, or I want to re-record, and they can re-record it.
Okay.
And until they're sufficiently happy with it, when they say, okay, I've done this part or all of it with successfully, then I will send it off to my teacher, and it'll go directly into their teacher's inbox.
Nice.
So it gives you a chance to hear that bit, and obviously into yours if you decided to receive the copies of the emails. So I think the spin your wheel here, we're working on root words and vocabulary. So the idea would be that you would spin the spinner. When it stops, hit the check if the words are from the same root. Match the icon or other common element like prefix or suffix. Touch the start for the next round. And there will be a dictionary up. Somehow the dictionary got lost in this iteration. So I've done the thing. Do we have a match? No, we don't have a match. Boom. We are correct. And again, as Alan was saying, you can see at the top the score is 100% until we make a mistake. So we have now 2 words from V'ahavta, or V'ahavta and Haftanu that have the root ahav, and that would indeed be correct. But if I click no, it tells me I'm wrong, and my score just went to 95. I can always go back in at any time and do it again. which is the nice thing. The Tickle Me activity, again, is this audio exercise, and they have to click on the word that they hear. So they would hear the word, and since I can't hear it, I'm just going to guess. Nope, that's not it. That would be it. See the smiling guy, and we go to next round. I don't have my audio on anymore, so I can't do that. They make a translation. All of our material in our textbooks looks at making the best translation of a prayer that they can using the clues that are available. So here we have the clues at the top. Those are what the words mean, and they have to find the best interpreted version of that particular part of the prayer that we've added. So on the left we have, you should love God with your latkes, your soul, and your every time. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Okay, that might work. And love the one, your God, with all your whole heart, with your breath, and with all you have. That works. And love your God with all their hearts, souls, and oddness. Okay, so one of the middle ones are going to work. Either one, they click it, they're correct. If they clicked the wrong one, it would give them an opportunity to click the correct one. However, we understand the kids could probably keep clicking until they find a right answer. You don't really want to end up with a score of, 75 if you could end up with a score of 100. So it gives them a chance to really work with it. Right. The last exercise we currently have is a vocabulary exercise. Torah is very big on creating icons for vocabulary in all of our prayer materials, so we've carried it on over here. In this case, if you're not using our material, there is a dictionary for students to use. We'll help them out with the words. They can hear a word. It said lev, okay, and the idea would be that they want to click it and go to the word that means lev. So in this case, it means heart. We have a visual icon just for kicks. Ahav means love. So it's a chance to do a vocabulary, and there are 2 pages of vocabulary exercises. The one thing, since I'm going to click out of this, is going to tell me that my score will not be recorded because I exited before I finished it. If you do that, then obviously you have a chance to go completely back in. But apparently I've already completed this exercise more than my fair share of time. And those are the exercises we currently have available. As I said, each prayer has its own set of exercises. Some have more, some have less, depending on the complexity of the prayer and what we have to work with in terms of roots or vocabulary or things like that. And that's basically what PrayerTech is all about.
Okay.
This first thing, Berchot HaShachar, Berchot HaTorah, I just added this morning. So again, it's very fluid. You can add things in quickly and at the last minute.
This is great. So tell me, I talked to Joel last week, and he gave me the information to access this to try it out. Mm-hmm. And I have it on a piece of paper that is now somewhere in a pile that I'm not sure.
Oh, I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to send it to you immediately upon our ending this webinar. What I'll do is I will send you the educator guide to setting up this material, though we're happy to help you set it up.
Okay.
I will send you an intro for teachers, a letter that can be sent home to parents about the material when you're ready to use it, and I'll send you the information on how to get into the student app.
This is great. I think that, what I'd like to do is to check it out and possibly let my daughter try it just to see if because she's pretty savvy. But
okay.
Would I be able to do that, or would I need to pay a site license for her?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, we'll set her up on the same thing with our sample.
Okay. Okay. Terrific.
Basically, you can log in and the username and password is sample. So as long as she's okay using it, it's part of the way that we want people to evaluate the material. So no, you don't have to pay for a license for her.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I would imagine that once we get started, we'll probably be looking at least in the fall, 20 to 25 students with the classes that I'm thinking of that this would be really useful for.
Good.
Okay.
So just some information for you. But this looks like it could be really quite useful for us, because we had a Hebrew teacher who basically left abruptly last December, and we've been just sort of piecing it together over the spring term, and I really want to get back on track now that we have a full-time person.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this
What are
is
you
great.
using for your? I mean, are you looking at new prayer materials, or are you happy with what you're using?
No, we're
Other
using
than
Stifify Tiftoff and just doing,
okay, so you'll see
basically
that it fits perfectly into the
oh
Stifify
yeah, no,
Tiftoff.
it's the same, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And whatever the book is before that, those three, I don't remember the name of it offhand, but it's like
Probably Oat Labaot or Teal
yes,
the primers.
yes, Oat Laba Oat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been pretty effective. The problem has been, of course, getting students to do it, but I think that with this, we'll be able to do that. So,
Well, again, it's not games. It's not mindless games. So,
right.
so it is work, but it's more fun than doing some other
Oh yeah,
things. And it's flexible enough that you could have kids bring a tablet or a phone or something into class, and then do some of it at home and some of it in class. And you know,
right.
I think that it'll give you the kind of flexibility you really could use.
I agree.
Right.
Okay.
The only thing I'm going to qualify on phones, it does not work on some of the smaller phones. So an iPhone Plus is fine. Samsung phones all work. But if you're trying an iPhone Classic,
Right.
it's just too small
Right.
for anybody to read unless we're handing out magnifying glasses to go with it.
Well, truthfully, most things don't work on anything lower than an iPhone 4 anyway. So.
Right. Well, I'm thinking the Classic.
Because I actually have an old iPhone 3.
Yeah.
And I've been amazed at how apps just completely drop off the face of the earth very quickly.
Yeah, I was thinking the iPhone Classic or whatever Apple just released this spring, which is essentially the same screen as the iPhone 4 with newer hardware.
Oh, is that the SE maybe?
Yeah, I think it's the SE. Yeah, I think it's the SE.
Yeah, it's pretty nice actually.
Yeah.
Just smaller, but okay.
Which is really good for some people, but it's just not gonna. It's just the screen's just way too small for the Hebrew, which is our problem.
Okay. So you really need a 6 or a tablet.
Yeah.
And
preferably, most people tell us that on a standard 6, it's a little bit. It is iffy.
Okay.
Once you get to the 6 Plus, it's absolutely no problem.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
By the way, I should also mention, in case you hadn't learned this somewhere, that there is a homework app for the Oat Labaot book. So if you're looking for something, it's a free. You can just download onto a tablet or a phone. It doesn't work on computers. That kids can take home and use as homework or extra credit or however you want to do that. You just need to go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and click on. I guess you could put in the word oat, OT, and see what comes up. But there are free apps for that. They're not sexy and they're not fun, and they were done with a company that does technical work, but at least it's a little bit of extra practice.
Sure,
if it'll help.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Good to know. Yeah, well, boy, thank you so much for especially running this just for me. I really appreciate it. I would have been happy to be bumped to another time too, so I really appreciate it.
You know what, we like doing these, and we like doing them even with one person because it kind of becomes meeting your needs as opposed to meeting our needs, which is what this is all about.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you, David, for joining us today, and I will